What's up out there? This is episode 2 of my last Epoch series. I'm going to call this one an in-progress review. I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to structure this series, and I didn't really want to just show the whole campaign or anything like that. I'll show some play snippets here and there and stuff like that, but I don't really want to show like major boss fights or major story components in case it's spoilers to anybody. I've been keeping myself pretty much in the dark. I've been kind of avoiding a lot of content. There's one person that I follow for Path of Exile. I've been avoiding his content entirely just because I know he's going through the campaign and I know he's past it and everything. I don't exactly know where I'm at. I'm trying to keep it as spoiler free as possible for myself and, for others as well. So this video here is going to be more of my thoughts that I've accumulated over the last few days. The weekend, I played a lot this weekend. I've got a lot going, a lot more into it now, and I've gotten further along. But let's dive into the very first thing that's on everybody's mind, probably, is the connection issues and all of that. If I hit play online, it may or may not work. I don't know. I honestly don't care. I am an SSF player by default. I've grown up with Diablo 1, Diablo 2. You can co-op those games for sure, because I did back in the day, but you can also play them as solo and just offline. There were a lot of single player games, and there still are single player games that are just straight up offline. There is no online live service, microtransaction, co-op, trading, all that crap. Grim Dawn comes to mind. I think you can probably co-op Grim Dawn, but I played it solo. In my mind, none of this matters. I can click this button right here, this play offline button, load right up, and I'm done. There's no loading screens, there's no lag. I mean, there's loading screens, but there's no extended loading screens, nothing times out, there's no lag. Like when I play Path of Exile, I get this weird 8 o'clock lag. I don't know what it is, but every night my milliseconds just goes screaming high. The game is either completely unplayable for 15, 20 minutes, or it's just done for the night. Sometimes I can load in and transition out. I don't know. That's a Path of Exile problem. This here, once I move to offline, there is zero reason to play online for me. I don't care about the microtransactions. In fact, I don't think this game has great microtransactions right now, and I don't care about playing online in any way, shape, or form. I'm not worried about co-op. I'm not worried about trade. For most of these games, I prefer the SSF style. That's what I grew up with. So I have zero issues. So I don't care about the server problems. It's a problem. Yes, they should fix it. I see there's a lot of heated debates and all kinds of weird problems going on with it. I could care less about any of that. So those thoughts out of the way right off the bat. I'm playing offline. I could care less about all the online issues. They'll fix it when they fix it. One thing that I was really hesitant about doing the offline mode was I wasn't sure if we were going to get the cycle content, which is this game's version of a league. Now, apparently, if this goes, let me back up for 1 second here. This is the 1.0 release. I don't think there's any actual league content or cycle content. This is just the first. This is the release. So there's nothing special. There's no, like if it was Path of Exile, we've got Affliction League going on where, there's none of that. This is just the game. This is the base game with the monolith system and some dungeons and whatever all the end game entails, and that's it. This isn't some special season or something that you're going to miss out on if you play it online. So you can play this completely offline and enjoy the cycle or season that it is. Yes, it's SSF, whatever, who cares? So my first thought is that if I can play this game, in a month from now or 3 months from now, whatever, when they come out with the next actual cycle, and it is a cycle and it has truly new content on it, if I can play that offline for SSF, I'm probably going to. Because number one, it solves all the online problems. So if this is truly going to be offline from this point forward, and I am always going to be playing SSF, I mean, if I was going to co-op, I'd go online, but if I was just going to always play SSF off, I'm just going to stay offline. That's one of my biggest beefs with Path of Exiles. There's zero reason to be online. Now, you cannot get to your microtransactions from here. If you hit this escape button, it doesn't show it. Somewhere it shows the microtransaction thing, but it's like grayed out. The store's grayed out or whatever. you can't get the microtransactions in here and you can't get to the store. Apparently it's a Steam thing or something, and that's why they do that. I don't particularly care. Again, their microtransactions are okay. It is what it is. So my thoughts on the game, getting past all of the current issues. This game runs so well and plays so well that I don't have any actual technical complaints about this game in any way, shape, or form. The complaints that I have about this game are all nitpicky stuff that doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. And they're just maybe personal preferences on my part, things that I can complain about. Like, I have had zero technical issues. I've encountered zero bugs, zero crashes, at least no bugs that I've known of. When we had the Wolcen launch years ago, there were skills that were completely bugged. There were passive stats that were just completely bugged. Stuff didn't work. I feel the impact when I craft something. I feel the impact when I upgrade my gear. I feel the impact when I downgrade my gear. Like, this game feels really good. And the stuff that I have to talk about in this video is just straight up nitpicky stuff that is probably not that important. So, first and foremost, the SSF modes. There are 2 modes to this, and I actually love it. In older games, you would have probably played offline, and everything would have been character bound or whatever. I don't remember Diablo 1 or 2 being a shared stash space. I think I had to log into a friend of mine's game, like we'd co-op with each other. I'd log into his game, drop an item on the floor, log out back in, and grab an item with the other character. So if I wanted to do something, I had to drop it off to a mule or something. So that's more what I remember, is stuff like that. I don't remember there being a shared stash space. So with modern games and modern shared stash spaces, you have 2 choices in SSF. You can have a totally shared stash, or you can have a completely character found stash. So I like that. I think that is a phenomenal idea. It gives you options on how you want to play, and I think that is fantastic. Any more options are always welcome. So I love that. The UI. The idle system in here is basically charms from Diablo 2. And if you look at the map in here, these maps are basically from Grim Dawn. So this game is borrowing a lot of stuff from other games, and I am totally okay with that. The bubbles down here, this is pretty much how every other ARPG in the universe has been set up. It's just the way they're designed. That's the optimal way. It's like Call of Duty and the control system that Call of Duty has. Battlefield has the same thing. Pretty much every major first-person shooter has the same UI. I don't care that they're borrowing stuff from other games. It's totally fine. It is perfectly fine with this. The difficulty, I don't know how I feel about the difficulty on this. Like in Path of Exile, you definitely feel when you've gotten into a more difficult area. In this game, I don't really think these monsters are all that difficult. I don't know what, does it say? I'm in a level 58 zone, and I'm a level 59 character, but I was in here at like level 40 or something like that. I was leveling up and doing stuff way lower than this. Yeah, I had some survivability issues on a couple of them, but I actually survived and beat the first couple of these. This is the monolith. This is like the in-game system, and there's no requirements to get in here. You can pretty much get in here fairly early on, which is totally shocking. Like I was watching Zizern's video, or Zizern put out a video earlier today talking about on your alt characters, you can actually get in here at like level 15 or something, like way low, like stupid low. But it's kind of weird to be able to actually survive and thrive in this kind of you'd think this would be a much, much harder thing to accomplish, but you level up super fast. So you come in here at like level 40 or something like that, and you leave at 45 or whatever. Like I got a few levels up, and I don't want to say I had problematic areas like that got tough, but I had areas that were a little bit more difficult. And I thought, I'll go in here and tinker around with this and see what happens. And this is before Zizern made his video. I did this over the weekend. I actually came in here just to see how it went. Went fine. And next thing you know, I'm leveled up a few levels. and the content that I was in was so much easier. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm good. Oh, that actually beat the echo. See, that's how fast it went. Like whatever I was supposed to do is done in here. So this is like some kind of teleporter thing, or not teleporter, but this is some kind of, I don't know, alternate universe kind of deal or whatever. So you go in there, you play the level. That's basically a Path of Exile map or whatever, if you want to call it that or something like that. So the difficulty is kind of a little bit uneven. Like I said, I was able to get into this thing, not the town, I was able to get into this monolith way earlier than I thought I was supposed to. I was doing something, I don't remember which era it was. I think I was in like either the Imperial or the Ruined era, one of these two. I came up and did something, and it might have been up in this area here. And then they sent me back to like the Ancient era, and the jump between the future and the past was jarring because you start, I don't remember where you start off, but let's say you start off in the Divine area and stuff gets a little bit, it wasn't really the Divine, it might have been the Imperial. So let's say you start off in the Imperial area, okay? You go through a few things, then they send you up to the Ruined area, the difficulty goes up, right? So you do a bunch of stuff in this area, and then they send you back to the Ancient area and the difficulty goes down sharply. Like you're cruising along in the Ruined area thinking, man, this is kind of tough, and you're expecting it to get that much harder when you go to the next area and you go to this ancient place, which is like lower than what you were just at and way easier, and you're just nuking everything along the way. So it's kind of an uneven feel to it. I do like that this is more traditional in the sense that it is not, what do you call that? Diablo 4 does it, and I hate it. I despise Diablo 4 for this. Everything is always at your level, so you can never get better than that and just go level up and come back and defeat something because it's always at your level. I don't like things always being the same level as me. I like being able to get past them. You know, if I'm having difficulty with something, I can go level up a little bit and go away. Now, on the flip side, I don't feel like this game has ever had anything where it was difficult. There's been some challenges for sure. There's been some things that I thought, yeah, that kind of sucked. But I alter something on me, whether I upgrade my, say I ran into an area with lightning defense. I needed lightning, so I upgraded my lightning resistance or something like that. Like I'll run into something and I'll be like, okay, I can just simply upgrade this or do more damage and not worry about being hurt because I'm killing things faster than they can kill me. Stuff like that. I've not really had a difficulty issue. The problem I had in Diablo 4 is I got stuck on this one boss thing and I kept running out of potions because you can't, it was frustrating. I hate being constantly at the same level because I never feel like I'm progressing. In this game, I always feel like I'm progressing. There's always something I can do. And if I do run into something that's, man, I don't know, maybe even slightly more difficult, I can go off somewhere, level up a little bit, come back and just annihilate whatever it is. And it doesn't even have to be a stronger set of gear or level. It's sometimes the levels you can put into the skills that you've picked and the stuff that you're specializing in. So you can make these things that much better and that much more able to take on whatever you're got. Just by putting one level in, you notice a difference. And then maybe your cooldown recovers faster or something like that. Maybe that, you know, stuff like that. I think that has been very good. But like I said, the difficulty's been kind of all over the place and I'm not necessarily feeling it. Let's see, where'd we go? I don't really want to go here because I think this is like rare shields, wands. We can get money, 30% endurance, piles of gold. That sounds good. I still really don't know what to do with gold. I've been buying stash tabs pretty much and they keep going up in price. The next thing I would say is the story. It's pretty much typical of an ARPG. It's hard to follow and I could care less about it. They want to talk about stuff here and there. One of the big complaints I had about Diablo 4 is that they jammed that story right in your face and they would not let up about it. You had to constantly, you walked, you know, for a couple of minutes to get somewhere. Then you had to sit through a couple of minutes of dialogue. Then you'd kill like 3 or 5 or 10 monsters. And then you'd go back walking again, get more story. I just hated how much dialogue there was and how much story you had to sit through. In the older Diablos, you basically, I don't remember Diablo 3 as much because I only played it once and that was many years ago now, but like Diablo 1 and 2, you basically sat through and all the dialogue was in town. You could partake in it if you wanted to or not. A lot of it you didn't care about. They had weird cutscenes that I never felt like I knew what was going on anyway, so I was just like, all right, whatever, I don't care. And that's kind of how this game goes. You're tossing around through time, and it's like, yeah, okay, this is cool. There's some interesting level design in here at times. At first, I was a little bit, I wasn't terribly high on the level design, but it's grown on me for sure. And I'm really starting to, like, this level here's got a lot more interesting stuff. Some of the very early levels, there's that one dark area that's up, I think, in the ruined era. It's just dark caves, and they flat out tell you when you go in there that it's going to be a dark area with no light. And then you go in there and it's a dark area with no light, and it's kind of boring, and you're like, yeah, okay. I don't know if that was like an early area that they designed or something. I don't know. But it is what it is. This story is what it is. I have no idea what's going on. There's been some cool set pieces. There's some cool things going on with some kind of weird Titan thing or something. I don't know. There's a boss that I'm on right now. I'm actually kind of stuck on it because it's an aquatic boss, kind of Lovecraftian sort of thing. It's very cool. I'm actually stuck on it. It is lightning and cold, I think. People want to say water, but I think it's lightning and cold. I probably need to raise my cold res and probably physical res also to get in there and deal with it, because my phys is only 40%, my cold's only 38. I think this caps out at 75% is what I read. I don't know if you can overcap like Path of Exile can, but that's one that I'm stuck on. But as you go, I shouldn't say the campaign, but the campaign levels, let's say that, those get significantly better as you go and get out of that ruined age or whatever. That one kind of wasn't so great, but when you get into the other stuff, it's so much better. Like, this is way more interesting than that ruined era. That thing was just dark and boring, and some of those levels went on for a bit too long. I don't want to say that they were extraneous or a waste of time. Like, I didn't feel like they were wasting my time. I just, like, one of my big complaints about Diablo 4 is that it wastes my time. It actively feels like I'm wasting my time. This game has never made me feel like I was wasting my time. I just kind of was like, all right, let's get on with this. This level's going on for a bit too long. And like, we've traveled this far through here. You may have to go 3 or 4 times as far as this through one of the levels. And it just kind of got old going that far. And I was like, all right, I'm kind of done with this and ready to move on. But it's still chugging along, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So, campaign-wise, story-wise, all that good stuff, I don't know. I could care less. It is what it is. I need to get out of here because that's going to hurt. Whatever that is, ain't going to be pleasant. Let's see, we got a key to a dungeon. That's cool. Let's see here. They do have some very nice looking transition scenes in between. They don't have like actual cinematic cutscenes in between the various story chapters and all that. They have like some really nice looking hand-drawn stuff. And I like it. I think it's cool. I think they have some dialogue in there here and there. It's not the greatest. Oh, there's another key. Grab those dungeon keys up while I can. And that's kind of one of my, I don't want to say a complaint. This is where I get 50-50 on this game. Like, I am really just kind of mixed on, in some regards, I am very mixed on this. Like, the game is excellent. I have no complaints about the game. If you were to ask me to rate this game as it stands and how I think it's going to wind up, I would say this game is probably going to be an 8 out of 10. Is that a different portal? No, it's the same portal. I think this is an 8 out of 10, and I think it's going to continue to be an 8 out of 10, and I think that's what it will end up being for me personally as it stands right now. I don't really see this thing getting a whole lot better, but I definitely don't see it getting a whole lot worse. I've looked at what other people have talked about on it, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to get worse. You know what I mean? It has potential to get a lot better as time goes on and it gets developed, but that's kind of where it is right now. So I'm going to tell you that I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, but then I'm going to proceed to just complain about all the weird janky stuff that, So like we'll go into the audio. You go in and talk to some of these people.
Yes.
She's not really saying a whole lot. Some of these people sound like, I wonder if I can go find that one guy. Where's he at? End of time, I think. Maybe he's over there on the main place. There's some dialogue in here, and I think I might have talked about it in my other video. Like this guy here.
Gold won't save you, but a blade might.
His audio sounds like somebody from the development team just did what I'm doing right now and just went over to a microphone, talked into it, and it doesn't sound like an actual voice actor. It's not bad or anything. It just sounds kind of cheesy, bad B-movie kind of sort of thing. It's not a complaint. I mean, it's a nitpick, like a total nitpick on this. Now, on the other hand, the sound effects, the music, and the audio sounds incredible. That music, there was an area that I was in that sounded like Final Fantasy music, like straight up Final Fantasy music. I was like, man, that sounds incredible. And my complaint with the audio and the music department is that you're fighting a boss and the music never goes into boss fight mode. It's that same mellow music. So you're sitting there pumping it out, sweating, you know, grinding on killing this boss, and it's this really super mellow music, and you're like, dude, this seems odd that it's so mellow. I don't want swords. I don't know what this reveal everything does. I can't do it. Oh, because I have to do this one first, I guess. We can get some rings out of this. A unique ring. Cool. Let's go do that. So the audio, I really love the audio, but and this is where the nitpicking thing comes in. So on the one hand, the audio is phenomenal. I don't hear, like in Path of Exile, there's a certain Act 9 or 10, somewhere in there where you're fighting in the city and the audio starts cutting out. None of that's happened so far. This game is rock solid on the audio. Everything's mixed really well. You don't get weird sounds that overtake each other or anything. Like it's just fantastic. But then on the other hand, you've got the kind of not so professional sounding audio that's going on. So it's like, you know, there's a weird dichotomy in there that, yeah, some of it sounds amazing and some of it's like, well, you can tell the budget. You know what I mean? Like you can definitely feel this thing's budget. They're like the fact that it doesn't have cutscenes, you know, it's got some nice artwork, but it doesn't have cutscenes. So you can really feel the budget in here, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I certainly don't mind lower resolution games with slightly worse graphics, games with lower budgets. I don't care. I've backed my fair share of Kickstarters. I've played my share of older games, indie games. I don't particularly care, but this game is so, and this is where I'm getting to nitpick it because it's so good, but yet you can feel that budget creeping in. Now, Grim Dawn, you can really feel the budget because there's no cutscenes, barely any dialogue. It's all, you know, you got to read everything. Like that one, you can really feel the budget on that one. But I don't know, it's not really enough to really knock this thing down and call it garbage. You know what I mean? It's just like a total nitpick. That's the best I can explain it. Definitely nothing that I would knock it for or take points off for. It's just, that's what it is. Then there's the level design. And like I said, at first I was kind of, not really feeling the level design. This Ruined Era was kind of boring and just like a lot of flat land and not really any, not that flat's bad, but it just was kind of boring and a lot of this kind of territory here that is, like you'd see this stuff here, not so much this texture around the things down here. And some of the areas have the 3D stuff in the background that you see moving around and things like that. That's very cool. But some of it was just kind of some boring flat stuff that was like, this is But as it's gone on, it's definitely gotten significantly better. And I don't know that the Ruined Era is a bad thing because, I mean, it is a ruined era. It's like this total dead place, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a horrible place to be. So it lives up to its name. I can't complain about that. And that's where I'm kind of a little bit mixed on it because I'm like, well, it was kind of, Oh, this place drops idols. Cool. Get some more new goodies to put on. So it is fitting at the same time, but then it's kind of I'm kind of looking forward to a second playthrough to see if I still feel the same way now once I get through the campaign and see where it's going and what it's trying to do. And I think it's a feature that was kind of so flat and boring is because it is just desolate and dead. But I don't know. I'm not entirely sure on that. That's not anything to worry about. Now you see how this has got a ledge to it? That's going to be the next thing that I talk about in these, the level design aspect of this. Nope, need to go back. So you will find areas where you go up ramps. Now this is just a small ramp here. There are some that go half the screen or more, or you may go up for quite a while. And you may try shooting something at the top of the ramp. Sometimes you're hitting the ramp, or you're hitting a nearby railing, or you're hitting something that's not, like there'll be some levels that have railing. You might shoot that thing instead of shooting the monster right on the other side of it. Now, I could understand, like this thing, that's an actual barricade of sorts. But there's like fences or something that you can't shoot through or something. Or you're just slightly over too far and it shoots the edge here instead of shooting down into the monsters. And maybe you aggro them, maybe you don't. But that part of the level design, it's like a 3D level. So you can definitely see that you go up here. But it gets kind of janky at times, and that's another thing where it just feels slightly off. And it could definitely be better. Again, probably a budgetary thing, I'm guessing. I don't know that I don't know game design. I don't know how difficult or easy it is to fix stuff like this. All I know is that it feels kind of odd, and it's something that it's a big nitpick of mine, basically. It is what it is. It's just an observation, really. It's not anything that's going to make me stop playing this game, for sure. Oh, we can level up in here. So here's the other thing. You've basically beaten this place, and you can stay in here and keep going a little bit. It's basically Path of Exile maps, that kind of thing. But you can kind of sit in here and keep killing stuff. I'm going to level up while I'm in here. I'm not going to go to the next map until I finish leveling up in here. I'm so close to it, I may as well sit here and just level off. So this is kind of cool for leveling. And who knows, maybe I go back to that boss fight I'm stuck on and just annihilate the thing because I've over-leveled in here a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I get some better skill points, or maybe some of my skills level up. I'm not sure. So then we're going to go on to the Monolith of Fate, which is what I'm into here. I think you get into this far too easily. Like Path of Exile, you have to complete the campaign before you get into the end game. Now, I know a lot of people don't necessarily like that, and that's a feature of this game, is that you don't have to, go as hard on the campaign and all that stuff. So I'm not oblivious to that by any stretch of the imagination. I get that. But at the same time, it feels kind of odd to be able to just walk right into the end game. I don't know how I feel about that. It's a weird choice, and I'm going to have to play some more to reserve judgment on that. But on the flip side, if you can handle this, I guess I'm going to have to leave because this is a long walk. But on the flip side, if you can handle the monolith, like you can level up super fast and you can gain a bunch of levels. And apparently you can just go into you can start a second character and completely blow through the campaign. Go in, if you can get in there and level up a little bit, get you some gear from your other character and go level off in there. You can come out and, just walk through the rest of the game. So I think that's kind of cool. Now, there are dungeons to this game. That'll be the next topic I want to talk about, is the dungeons. I don't remember if there's one here. There's definitely one at the Divine area. The Temporal Sanctum. Is that what I got keys for? Oh, the Soulfire Bastion. So where's the Soulfire Bastion at? Temporal Sanctum. I don't have a key to that one. So there's a dungeon over here. Is it in the Imperial area? I don't recall. Might be Divine. Maybe not. I don't see my dungeon. There was one dungeon I got a chance to go into, and the dungeons have, I don't think it was Ancient Era. Nah, Not seeing it. Well, it doesn't matter. There was a dungeon that I tried to go into, and I get all the way over there. I went to visit it, and it said, "Oh, you don't have a key. You can't get in." And I was like, "Okay, there's the Soulfire Bastion." Was it in the ruined area? Yeah, this dungeon here, this Lightless Arbor. So I actually got into this thing, and I went through, I think, one or two of the areas, and I started traversing. I think I got up to the Titan's Rest, and then I died. And once you die, you're booted out and you lose your key. That's it. That's the only chance you get. It's not like Path of Exile where you've got multiple attempts at that map or whatever. The dungeon is you get one key and that's it. Now, on the flip side, there's a level 20 version and like a level 60 version. And I was level 48 or 50 or something like that. I don't know. I wasn't fully at the level at the minimum dungeon level. And I went in there. I knew I was going to die. I didn't care. I just wanted to see what the dungeon was. The dungeon is basically the same thing as any of the other map levels. So it wasn't anything special. You just needed a key to get into it. So I don't know exactly what all's in there. Like, do you get specific loot from this area? Is it, I don't know. I didn't really get to finish it, but it didn't feel any different than the rest of the game. So the dungeons and the monoliths all kind of feel the same at this point. There was a light mechanic that you had, like you had a little thing above you that you could toss out and it would light up the area. And if you lit up the area around the monsters, they would take more damage. If you didn't light the area up, they would take less damage. So you either had to be right next to the monsters fighting them or huck the thing over to do damage to them. So I'm not sure how I feel about that whole mechanic system of it. I don't know if all the dungeons are like that. I'm not sure. I'm definitely curious to see how that goes. Can we do this thing now? Yeah, we can do this, even though I can see everything. Let's see what this one does. So, I like the dungeon system. I think it's kind of a cool idea for the one dungeon that I've done. I now have these two keys here. I think I got a third key in my inventory, so I can go see if these other dungeons are any better or more interesting. But the one dungeon I did was okay. Nothing really to write home about. It didn't feel different. Like I kind of expected like maybe a Destiny kind of thing, you know, where you've got what's the way to say that? Or the way the dungeons work there, they were definitely designed, at least the first Destiny 2. I don't remember Destiny 1 so much, but played a bunch of Destiny 2. And you know, like you'd go in the dungeons and you had to set up and gear up and level up and, you know, co-op through it, and everybody had to be on point to do the fights. I don't get the feeling the dungeons are going to be anything like that here. It's just basically felt more of the same of this. Like I'm walking through this area, killing stuff, and that's kind of the extent of it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But given the amount of detail that they've put into some of the other aspects, I kind of expected the dungeons to feel a little bit different and be a little bit more intricate or involved or something. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So to kind of round this all out, let's talk about the longevity of this. Now, I honestly don't think this game's going to be... I don't think this game's going to die off anytime soon. I think once they get their server issues solved and they get everything ironed out with that regard, I think this game's got a good future to it. I'm not worried about that. How long I'm going to play it right now, it is a... Whoa, don't want to be taking that damage. It is definitely a brand new game. And if I understand things, all that we have is this monolith of fate. And that's it. That's like your end game. So there's not really anything more beyond what we've already got. So you're not going to get a PoE end game or something like that right off the bat. It's just kind of, that's what it is. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think there's enough diversity in the game. You can try different builds out. You can, you know, what happens if I do this? What, you know, even this build that I've got going here, there's enough different skills that I can try. I don't feel like I am... I don't know, stuck on anything. I feel like there's enough I could try. It's a good base. Let's just say that. It's a very good base. Give me that armor. I don't want to lose that. It is an excellent way to start this game out, and I can't wait to see what they do going forward. The Monolith of Fate, I don't know. It might get stale. I'm reserving judgment on that. I don't know. I am enjoying everything I'm playing so far. Like I said, I don't really have any complaints to it. It's a good time. So they need to get the online stuff sorted. That's definitely a huge problem, obviously. There's a lot of contention about that right now. Hopefully they get that taken care of. We're going to have to fight a wave thing here. Do I have to stay in this? Can I just go away? I guess I can go away. I don't know if I need to stay in that or want to stay in that. I don't know what the purpose of that is. Oh yeah, remaining to charge the beacon. All right, cool. Okay. Get over here, get out of the way. Oh, I want to take that purple thing. I don't know what purple is, but I want it. Give me boots. Oh, there's a monster there. Get me out of here. This is the first one I've had to do like this. This is basically like oh, what's that called in Path of Exile? Oh god, don't die. I don't even remember. They just added it this league, and I don't remember what it's called. I haven't done enough of it yet to really know. Get out of there. Trial Master or whatever. All right, cool. We did it. Done. Oh, another one. You can die. Come on, you can die. I did find out that this game is kind of like Path of Exile, where you can take like this light quiver. You can grab this thing here. And you can actually craft things up from normal to rare or magic to rare or whatever. Like you can actually go through different levels of it. At least I was able to once. I think I did that in, what's this thing? I think I was able to do that in the beta phase of it before we got the full release. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't know where I'm at in the campaign. I'm over at this area here. If I click on this, I'm fighting this Lagan guy. I looked around. I didn't find a spawn point anywhere. So I basically have to walk from this place over to here anytime I want to fight it. And I keep dying at that fight. So I'm kind of just waiting to come back on him for a little bit, maybe level up a little bit, change my skills out here and there. But there's a lot of empty, if my mouse would work. Oh, I hate this mouse. I need to get this thing fixed. There are a lot of points on here. Like I don't see anything with Mountains of the Sun, Argentium, Scorched Basin, Welrin. There's areas all here, but like, is this going to be expansion areas? Are there things coming in the future? I don't know. One thing I do like is if you click on the ancient area, you see the map change, and the Sea of Norcereth is fairly large, and you see this thing. This is a fairly big puddle over here. You go to the divine area, you see that gets smaller, and you see this changes too. Like you see the big waterfall that's over here kind of goes away. I like how they changed the map. And then you click on this and everything's just barren and destroyed. You go to the, well, the Imperial area is not that bad. That's more of an industrial type thing. You go here and it's barren and destroyed. And then you go to the End of Time and it's basically the same area, just all busted up into these chunks. So I like how they changed the map. You know, it's very cool. And I was looking at this, like you've got this Isles of Wrath. I don't think there's anything on here at all. So it looks like they've got content planned out, or points of interest planned out maybe for in the future. I think that's kind of cool. I didn't really pay attention to it until I was sitting here kind of zoned out looking at this, and I'm like, hey, they do have a lot of different, and now I know, like, here's Welrin. Welrin isn't used here, doesn't exist here, but I still think that's kind of like stuff that they could use, you know what I mean? Here's like Salt Flats, maybe they have something there, and maybe they have plans for it. So I don't know. But anyway, that is my thoughts on the game so far. I'm really enjoying it. I'll probably do some kind of full review, but I think all the points that I've brought up in here, unless something just drastically changes, and I don't think it will, because I've seen other people talking about the game. I haven't really watched their videos, but from what I gather, based on like really high level overviews of what they've said, not really going into deep dives or stuff like that, it sounds like what I'm seeing in the game is not going to change all that much. This is the final game and that's it. There's not going to be any hidden shocking secrets or anything, or any super big bugs or anything like that. So what I'm seeing is this going forward, and I think this is worth an 8 out of 10. I like it. The only problem that I'm really having right now is trying to decide what skills to use. Like I've got this multi-shot. I don't even use it. I am thinking about switching it out to something else, but I don't know what I want to switch it out to. I've kind of gotten used to where I hit the W and E key, and that's kind of where I'm stuck at with it. I don't really like any of these other skills or want to use them. The build that I've got going now is kind of an ignite build with fire and stuff like that, and I think it's working out really well. So once again, though, I am looking forward to trying different characters out and things like that. So anyway, that will do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.